So would you like to know what my secret recipe is for helping my clients distinguish their purpose powerfully? This is what clients pay me thousands of dollars to help them with. I've had some clients that I've worked with that have, they've worked on this for years. Some have told me that they've even gone to workshops and 3-day workshops and weren't able to get what we were able to accomplish in just a few short hours. Welcome to Soul Purpose Inspiration. Inspiration for leaders who care about making a significant impact. Okay, so my secret recipe, the first trick is to don't be the one to craft your initial purpose statement. Go ahead and attempt it. It's kind of interesting. Like I have tried it for years, and when I try to do my own, it just always falls short. When I do it for other people, it's like, wow, I even have an emotional connection to theirs in a way that I can't get on my own. I've since distinguished why that is. And so the key is really to working with somebody else in this. The person to look for, you don't want to just grab anybody, not just anybody will do in this. There's 3 distinctions I want to offer you in looking for a really good partner. The first is somebody that's good with words. Like, so who do you know that maybe it's an English major, maybe it's somebody who is, a poet, they love poetry. If they write poetry, even better. You want somebody who's really great with words. The second is look for somebody who's eloquent. Who in your world do you love listening to? Like they just put words together in a way that just like you will enjoy listening to. And the third is a coach. A coach is somebody who is well trained at spotting your brilliance, and your soul purpose and the statement will illuminate that. But not all coaches are great with words. And I would pick somebody that's great with words over a great coach for this particular process. If you can find a great coach who's great with words, even better. That's like the winning formula. I do have a team of coaches that work with me that are well trained in this process, that are great coaches and are also great with words. Those are 2 things I look for when I bring somebody into my team. They help clients at Well Factory. We do this. It's part of the Soul Purpose program. They take them through and creating these statements for each person that joins the program. So if you want to reach out and see if one of my coaches would be a good fit for you, please do so. Maybe try grabbing a partner, see what you can accomplish on your own. Here's what you know if you get to this place, you've got it. I know when I read the statement that I've crafted to a client, if they have an emotional connection and I have emotional connection, we're both a little bit choked up, we're there. If that's missing, we're not there. Your statement is falling short if it doesn't create an emotional charge for you. It doesn't have the appropriate words to how you feel inside. And so grab a partner, do this process with them. If you're not getting to that place, then maybe reach out. But if you get to that place, you're there. That's it. So I'm going to give you my process that I take clients through. So basically I interview them, and I'll share with you the questions that I use when taking clients through, and we'll post the questions below. So it's basically 5 questions and then a template, and the template's a little bit different than the questions. So the 5 questions are: first, if you could change the world in just one way, what would it be? Next, if you could give humanity this one thing, what would it be? Now, the questions are similar in nature for a reason. We're targeting their limbic. When I'm working with somebody, I tell them, hey, the questions are similar in nature for a reason. Don't hesitate to answer this with the same answer. My request is don't say the same thing, say it again. Because what I'm actually doing in this part of the process in the interview is I'm wanting to collect as many of their words and phrases as possible so I can use as many of them in the statement. So if you could change the world in any way, what would it be? If you could give humanity one thing, what would it be? If you could, and actually after they answer those 2 questions, when they're in touch with what they want, a lot of times I do this just to dive in a little bit more. I say, okay, if that really did occur and, we time travel 100 years into the future, and this has been going on for 100 years, and we land 100 years into the future, what are we going to be in? What are we going to see? Because you also want to get in touch with what is the vision of the purpose that they want, right? It'll help you get in touch with, or the person who's going to craft your statement, it will help them get in touch with how to write the statement. So then the third question is, above all else, no one should live without. And then the fourth is, what I absolutely live and speak up for is, fill in the blank. Now the fifth is a sentence stem, and I'm wanting them to just keep rolling with as much until they can't really think of anymore. And it's, I believe, right? So we're wanting to excavate out of, like I'm wanting to excavate out of my clients, all of their strongly held beliefs of truth, their profound truths, what they know to be true in their heart and soul. I want to get all of those out. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to give this person, your partner, these questions to have them ask you, coach them to be genuinely curious with you, to ask more questions, if prod a little bit further and deeper if you give a short answer or something isn't very clear. Have them collect it, and they're taking notes because they're collecting as many of your words and phrases as possible. Then what they're going to do is then they are going to go away quietly and work on crafting your statement. And they're going to craft it. The template that I use is really simple. I call it the Martin Luther King template, right? Because Martin Luther King was a leader who was able to use this type of languaging to inspire and change a nation, to create the impossible. And that's what the power of this statement does. Like what Simon Sinek talks about, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And when you can speak about what you do from the context of why you do it, it's incredibly powerful because it creates profound connection. When people feel connected to you, they're 44% more likely to trust you. I believe when you're talking with these kind of statements, you're going to get 100% buy-in, because every person's purpose statement is speaking about a better world for all. And who's going to say no to that? Right? So when you can, but it's hard to, because of the limbic cognitive disconnect, it's challenging to craft that statement yourself. And there's this other thing that happens, I'll share in a minute, where it's one of the magics of working with other people. So the template that they'll use to craft your statement, or the one I use that you can use, is I stand for, or I'm a stand for. What they're wanting to look at in all of your words and phrases and all of your answers, what's the summarized essence? What is it really talking about? That's the first thing I look for in all of the notes. That really helps. Then that helps guide the rest of the statement for me. So fill in that. It doesn't have to be just one thing. It could be three things, but above, I am a stand for love, connection, and inclusion. What's the sum and the essence of everything that they're talking about? And then I believe. And when I'm doing this for my clients, I make sure that this I believe, that I've included everything in there, but I'm not in too many tangents. I want to make sure that so I do pretty robust statements for my clients. This statement is usually pretty long, and I always tell them it's meant to be a template statement for them. I'm wanting to give them more so they have more to work with. So have them be more generous with you and give more so that you can play with it. Then the next one is I dream of a world in which. And as they work on that, I want the world to portray it. So sometimes I'll have, it's like I dream of a world in which everyone has the opportunity to discover their potential and contribute their gifts to the world. So if it's something like that, then I say creating a world that. So I always kind of to prod a little bit more. What is that creating? What's that pointing to? So you can add that to it. Once they have the statement crafted, then they're going to read it back to you. This is a part of the magic that I think that is what happens. I call it vibrating validation. I discovered this when I was working with Mimi, my TED Talk coach, that I was sort of I felt connected to this purpose, but I felt a little bit insecure saying it. So we talk about it, and when Mimi would say, "Oh, that's so amazing. Oh, yes," it'd vibrate and echo back in my heart "Wow, yeah, okay." It would help me stand with greater certainty and confidence in what I believe to be true. And that's the power of what happens here. You play on each other's emotions that helps it land back in your heart more powerfully. And that's why I think it's so powerful when you work with another person. So when they read their statement back to you, do you get a little bit choked up? Does it ignite in you the same feeling and sense that when you can feel your purpose but you can't, is it the same feeling? If it's not, you're not there. Let them know what's missing. Look and see what's missing. It's not quite there. Have them take another stab at it and then come back and read it to you. When they read it to you and you do get choked up, you have this emotional connection to it, they probably will too. When that's there, you're there. The next thing you want to do is you take the statement and read it back to them. You should have an even more powerful connection to that. And that's all there is, right? I do tell my clients when I'm working with them, once you have your statement, rehearse it. Rehearse it over and over and over. I accidentally discovered this when I was rehearsing for a keynote speech. It was basically my purpose statement in a keynote. And I rehearsed it over and over 100 times. It was like for a big audience. It was the biggest one at times, so I rehearsed extra long. And what I discovered is then in the weeks and months that followed, when I would be having a conversation with a potential client or doing a video, and I would sort of get stuck for work. I would just get pause because I believe, and then would just roll off my tongue because I had rehearsed it so many times. And so when you really want to let this statement make an impact in helping you create clients, inspire your team, and just keep you lit up, then don't let it be something that you just have an emotional connection to once. Rehearse it. So the words, basically what you're doing is when you rehearse it, you're giving your limbic brain words to use. So the next time you're feeling connected to that purpose in your limbic brain, it's got rehearsed words for it and it can just roll off your tongue. Rehearsing is different than memorizing, but in the beginning it feels the same. You're just repeating. But rehearsing, you're not attached to it being the same word verbatim, but you're in that rhythm, right? That's what you're looking to get. That's what your partner's helping you get, is a powerful, succinct rhythm. And then as you rehearse it, you can play and let it become more of your own and let it evolve over time. But it's a really powerful way to get over that limbic cognitive disconnect and get the foundations to a really powerful statement that can evolve into more of your own over time.